When The Big Bang Theory premiered in 2007, it was hailed as a fresh and quirky comedy that finally gave nerd culture a primetime spotlight. The show's depiction of socially awkward scientists, its barrage of science jokes, and its loving nods to Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who, and comic books made it an instant hit with a certain audience that had rarely been represented on mainstream television. However, nearly 2 decades later, what once felt novel now feels painfully dated. Rewatching the show in 2025, it's impossible to ignore how heavily The Big Bang Theory leans into stereotypes, not just about nerds but also about women, social skills, and even intelligence itself. Its brand of humor, while wildly successful in its day, now reads as a relic from a different cultural era, one where laughing at differences was the norm, not questioning them. At its core, The Big Bang Theory follows Leonard, Sheldon, Howard, and Raj, 4 brilliant scientists who struggle with everyday social situations, particularly those involving women. Enter Penny, the beautiful, normal neighbor from across the hall who becomes both their friend and their social compass. The series is built on this culture clash, geniuses who can explain quantum mechanics but can't navigate a dinner date. It's a simple, effective premise, but the execution often leans so hard on cliches that it undermines its own cleverness. The nerds versus normals dynamic drives most of the humor, and while that formula was charming at first, it quickly devolves into caricature. The show's writers clearly knew their audience, or at least who they thought their audience was. They leaned into a fantasy of intelligent outcasts being both ridiculed and adored, but that duality often came across as cruel. Sheldon Cooper, the show's breakout character, is portrayed as a genius whose social awkwardness and emotional detachment are treated as comedic quirks. Yet, viewed through a modern lens, Sheldon's behavior aligns with characteristics associated with autism spectrum disorder, something the show never acknowledges seriously. Instead, his lack of empathy, discomfort with physical contact, and literal interpretation of language are mined for laughs. In 2007, audiences chuckled at his inability to understand sarcasm. In 2025, many viewers recognize it as a missed opportunity for authentic representation. The problem isn't just Sheldon. Leonard, supposedly the most normal of the bunch, spends much of the show embodying the nice guy stereotype, the kind who believes he deserves love from Penny simply because he's patient and persistent.